Tick, welcome to the podcast, brother. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. One of the Louisville legends that I got a chance to watch when I was growing up, man. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I got my man Haji in the building, man. What's going on?
What's up with y'all, man? Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here. You know, you was one of my favorite players too. You from the city, man. So I've always kept up with you, man.
Already. And the first thing we like to ask on the podcast, man, is like, do you try bourbon? Obviously bourbon's a big thing in Kentucky. You being from Kentucky, bourbon's a big thing. Is it bourbon? You ever try bourbon? You drink bourbon? Do you have a go-to?
Yeah, we just got on bourbon, man. And I was waiting for my girl to send me the name of the bourbon back, but we just got on it. But it's something that we just got into it, so we doing it now.
You know what? I'm about a year and a half in. All these years living in Kentucky, man, for like 35 years, I never really got into it. And all of a sudden I said, man, let me see what it's about. And man, it's crazy how big the bourbon community is and like how serious people take bourbon. It's like, like sneakerheads and basketball people, how we feel about Jordans, that's how they feel about their bourbon, man. It's a big thing.
Yeah, it's big, definitely in Kentucky. But Kentucky and Tennessee is the only two states that make bourbon, right?
It used to be, but now you got different states that.
Oh, okay.
So let's get into the podcast, man. One thing I want to ask you is who inspired you growing up? Or who was somebody that you may have wanted to model your game after, or that you wanted to imitate when you was younger on the basketball court?
Dr. J has always been my favorite player, man. I don't know. You might be a little too young to remember. You might have seen highlights, but
I see highlights. I ain't get a chance to watch you play live.
Right.
Yeah, coming up, man. Dr. J was who I watched, man. That was my favorite player.
Nice. Now you wore number 4. What was your inspiration behind number 4?
Number 4 was, man, I had wore number 20 for most of my elementary, high school career, and then because of Milt Wagner.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then my junior year I started wearing number 4 because of Chris Webber.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I started wearing the number 4, man.
Nice.
Tick, I want to ask you, Tick, how did you get the name Tick? How you get the nickname Tick?
Man, I've heard different stories. When I was young, I mean, they've been calling me Tick, man, since I was born. When I came out, nobody knew my real name. Everybody called me Tick, but it was always Little Tick because they called my dad Big Tick. And some of the stories that my dad's people tell me about why they started calling him Tick, it was something about some guy on the street. That's why they started calling him Tick, and I don't want to go too much more into that.
Right.
But then, once I got older, the little dropped off, and it was just Tick.
Right. And I'm gonna be all the way honest with you, man. I didn't even know your real name up until we was about ready to do this podcast. I didn't know. Hey, honestly speaking, I was doing my research before that. I'm like, what's his? I'm like, man, I don't know his real name. I just know Tick Rogers. That's it.
It had never been in none of the books or anything at UofL. Every time you seen something, it was always Tick.
Yeah. I ain't gonna throw your government name out there. If you want to put it out there,
we can keep that a secret, man.
Okay, I ain't gonna throw it out there. So, man, in high school, you graduated 1992. Man, you won Mr. Basketball at Hart County High School, and you won it over a stellar class, man. You guys had a load of talent coming out in 92. You had yourself, you had your DeJuan Weeks coming out, you had your Derek Andersons, you mentioned Shannon Hoskins, guy that led the SEC in assists as a young guy. How did that make you feel, winning that prestige honor as, a small county kid over some of the other names that were among the state's best?
It's bigger now, looking back on it, than it was when I was coming up, man, because really all I ever wanted to do, I would just love playing basketball. So, when Mr. Basketball and the running for Mr. Basketball, man, I just played, and coming up, when my junior year, senior year, DeJuan and Derek, man, used to come to the house and hang out with me. So they was down in the country with me, and I used to come up here and stay with Derek a couple times. So, we was always cool coming up, man. There was nothing, that divided us or kept us. We didn't compete against each other. We was friends.
Right. Now, normally in Kentucky, you know, you get your county kids or your kids outside of the city, everything's pretty much big blue. And so normally, like a lot of times, Mr. Basketball, it's very rare that they choose U of L. Most time, you know, their dream school is always to go U of K. What made you choose to go from Hart County to U of L and not University of Kentucky? And if it wasn't U of L, where would you have went to school, you think?
Simply, man, coming up, my dream as a kid was to play for U of L. So, you know, there's a lot of UK fans definitely in Hart County, but my dad was always a big U of L fan. So when it was a U of L game on, we watching U of L. Like I told you before, Milt Wagner was my favorite player at U of L. So when I got to U of L, I even put the park down the middle of my head. You know what I'm saying? I even had the park and everything. You know what I mean? Like U of L was big in my whole family though. Most of my whole immediate family has always been U of L fans. So we was always outcast down in Hart County, man.
So if you didn't go to U of L, where do you think you would have went to?
You know, it really wasn't a second choice for me, for real.
Nah.
You know, I talked to Patino. You know, Patino had called me, you know, when I was in high school being recruited, and he was at UK. And basically our conversation ended with, look, coach, I never come to UK, man. I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's how distant I was from UK. But now Western is where my mom wanted me to go. Ralph Willard and Tom Crean was the assistant coach there.
Really?
That's where my mom wanted me to go. I didn't
know he was assistant at Western.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Tom Crean. Yeah. Coach Willard was the head coach and Tom Crean was the assistant coach. And that's where my mom wanted me to go. But other schools I looked at Minnesota because of Clem Haskins.
Yeah.
And you know, my daughter, that's Clem Haskins' niece now. You know what I mean? So small world.
Yes,
what was some of your fondest memories playing for U of L? What were some of the
fondest memories, man? Yeah. Man, I loved every bit of it, to be honest, man. You know, the probably the hardest part was senior night. You know, saying bye to the fans for the last time. You know, the last time I played in Freedom Hall. Biggest moment probably was beating UK. I think they were number one or number two my junior year. And I saw the podcast you had Samaki on. That's the game that Samaki had
the triple-double. Yeah.
Samaki had like 10 blocks, but I think they were number two. And before the game, you know, we look at the papers, we see what's going on.
Right.
And they had all the rankings, you know, why Kentucky should win. So we had a meeting, like, hold on, man. Like, this ain't true. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to show them we going to play, man. We going to beat them. So we had it in our head we was going to win. And we ended up beating them. I'm pretty sure they were number two in the nation that year.
Man, it was dope, man. As a youngster, man, I used to love to watch like you, DeJuan Wheat, Alvin Sims, Jason Osborne, especially because you guys were local, and I got a chance to, you know, see some of you guys, and you guys kind of represented what I wanted to become, just like a local kid wanting to go and play for the university, man. So I thought that was pretty dope, man. So obviously, you know, Coach Crum is a Hall of Fame coach, but what did it mean? Give me a next level or a more intimate side of what it meant to play for Coach Crum.
Man, I mean, watching, you know, Coach Crum when I was at U of L, man, I mean, how he interacted with the people. You know, he was never he never put himself on a pedestal. And that was very, very important, you know, when I came to Louisville, because he's approachable. And I've seen coaches, man, that, you know, they come out and they got 10 bodyguards around them. And it's like, come on, man, we in Kentucky, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, say hi, shake a hand. You know what I mean? Right. Come on. So, you know, I definitely, man, I respect Coach Crum a hell of a lot, man, because the person that he is. Not forget the accolades. You know, he's a great person, man, and he's a person that I wanted to, you know, model myself after as far as, you know, how he carried himself in the community, man.
And one thing you always hear, a few things you always hear about Coach Crum is that he never really cursed. He was always on you about the bank shot, and he's always great with drawing up plays and timeouts and X's and O's. He was always really great.
Best ever. I played, man, in a lot of places. I think you played in a place I played in over in Israel. Mm-hmm. But him being, man, just when he calls a play, you're gonna get a good shot. Now, whether you make it or not is on you.
Right.
But you're gonna get a good shot. Now, don't be 15 feet from the basket and don't use the backboard though, because you're getting benched. Hey, that is definitely true. You getting benched. If you don't use that backboard, man, you getting benched under Coach Crum, man. Like, he's very big on using the backboard.
Man, I first heard that from Kenny Payne. I couldn't believe it, man. He said, "Yeah, Coach Crum tell you, I pull you out the game, man. You don't use that bank shot shooting that.
Yeah,
especially
you don't
if
use
you
that
got the angle."
But hey, if you make it, you got a chance. But if you miss that, ain't no chance. I don't care if you done went 10 for 10, miss that shot, you don't not use the backboard. Yeah, you coming to the bench.
That's crazy.
Man, you were not only a great player, but you were a great defensive player. That you were really known for your defense. You were one of the all-time steals leader in school history. And I remember '96 NCAA tournament, man, was one of my favorite times of the year because in school we always got a chance to pull the TV out and we would watch the NCAA tournament. So we had a big matchup coming up against Villanova. You know, Villanova had Alvin Williams, Kerry Kittles, I think John Celestin, I believe. And I was a big fan of the Big East because I was a big Ray Allen fan. I loved UConn when I was coming up. So I was very familiar with it. And so people was like, oh, man. And Villanova, I think, was a 2 or 3 seed, and we were like a 5 or 6 seed. And they's like, man. I'm like, and I'm sitting there like, man, I'm going down to matchups, and I'm sitting there like, okay, Alvin Williams, DeJuan Wheat. I'm like, I like that. And then I'm like, Kerry Kittles, Tick Rogers. I'm like, shit, Kerry Kittles nice on offense. I said, but shit, Tick got D. I said, shit, that's a good matchup. And then I was going down the rest, and I'm like, the rest of our roster, I'm like, hey, I like our chances, man. And so then to watch that game, man, to watch us, pull out. Yeah, I'm sure you guys didn't consider the upset because you guys were expected to win, but being the lower seed and coming out with that victory, man, that was one of the memories that I have as a young kid, especially of that group when you guys were playing, just particularly with you, you had these long arms. And one thing about you always played with a smile, man. No matter what was going on, Tick Rogers had a smile, and he was always probably going to pick somebody's pocket. So that was one of my fondest memories, man, of you guys.
Man, to me, man, basketball is fun. It's a lot of hard work. And if you put in the work, man, why not enjoy it when you out there? Practice is the hardest thing. Oof. You know what I mean? When you're in practice, that's the hard thing. The games is easy. That's the fun part.
Facts. So, man, tell me about that game a little bit, heading into that game, that Villanova game.
Man, how long ago was that being, man? 30 years? Man. I'm just kidding. But, coming into the game, Kerry Kittles, I think I know he was a lottery pick, 3 or 4 in the draft.
Yeah.
And I looked at it as opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, everybody that was supposed to be the man, I honestly, man, like, I mean, and y'all know it as basketball players, man, like, somebody can say whatever about how good this person is or what they rank. You coming in, you think you better than that player though. You know what I mean? Like, I never looked at a player and said, man, he gonna kill me or he better than me. You know what I'm saying? My thing was, man, I'm gonna shit his ass down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was my goal. Like I was happy to see Kerry Kittles. For real.
Big facts. Right. Big facts.
I mean, I want to say, I know you watch the Cards now. What do you think of Coach? What you think of Coach Mack and the current Cards right now?
Man, I like the job Coach Mack is doing. Being in the city, man, you hear the negativity and with social media, man, nowadays, man, people always gotta have something to say. You know what I'm saying? They always want to be seen. You know what I mean? And a lot of that is just people wanting to be seen. They want their name out there, man. And it's a lot of bull crap to me. For him to come here, be here 3 years, have a team ranked number 1. What was it? Last year they was ranked number 1.
Yeah.
This year with the injuries and everything that they've had, man, to have the record that they have. I mean, of course, the Miami game was a disappointing loss. The Clemson game was a disappointing loss. But the overall job that he's done, man, I'm impressed with Mac. I don't know where the negativity and criticism comes from, for real. To me, being a basketball player and seeing what's going on.
No, I think he's done a wonderful job, especially for, taking over the situation and the way it was handed to him. There's a lot of turmoil, a lot of confusion, a lot of,
Man, can you imagine, man, coming here as a coach not knowing what's going on, what's going to happen, recruiting players and getting players to come here and they not knowing what's going on, what's going to happen?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's tough for everybody. And for him to do the job that he's done, man, like, that's impressive to me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, looking back, man, I mean, if Coach Crum them was under investigation or you not knowing what's going to happen, man, I mean, that's a lot to think about as a player coming to a university, man. And for him to keep getting the players that he's getting, man, I think that's a hell of a job that he's doing.
I think a lot of it also is that, people are used to a certain style of play. And with Pitino, it's more up and down. It's probably a little bit more exciting. Chris Mack's more so half court. Let's make sure we execute. We're going to play hard defense. And I think a lot of it, people just adjusting to the style. And they may not like the style, but, hey, as long as you're winning, that's all that matters. But I think a lot of it just comes with the style of play.
One of the things, man, that I've noticed this year, man, is last year, me and Dewan used to talk, man, and I'd tell her, hey, man, I ain't got to worry about nobody else passing me in the steals category. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't put enough pressure on the ball. But this year, though, they have extended the pressure a little bit, and they're going for steals a little more than they did last year. And I think that's Mac knowing the situation and adjusting.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, too, because I think a lot of success that Mac's had, he's had a lot of Pitino players. And so now that, I think Malik Williams is the last Pitino player to really get out of there, and he's starting to recruit his own. So he'll have his own brand of players in there. And it'll be really interesting going forward to see, how things unfold. But I think that he's done a wonderful job.
Hey, Chris Jones can go. I mean, what's his name? Carlik Jones?
Carlik Jones, yeah.
Carlik Jones can go, man.
Yeah.
He a smart basketball player, man. Yeah. He is. He can go.
So everybody got to remember too, like everything he dealt with this pandemic, like. So you got to give him a chance, and he's still doing a great job, like. So.
Man, we still looking at what a 6 or 7 seed in the tournament right now.
Yeah.
With Malik being out the whole year, did he done play 2 games now? That's a big part. Malik's a big part of that team, man.
Yeah, he is.
And that gives the 2 big men, JJ and what's the other guy's name?
Kid played a Charlotte. I mean, dude played a Charlotte. That's his son, Curtis Withers' son.
Yeah, Withers. Yeah, that gives Withers and JJ a chance to move into a more natural position, man. Because them playing center, dude, that's tough for them, as small as they are.
Yeah, it ain't for them.
Yeah.
So Tick, man, you passed it down to the next generation. You have a daughter, Kyvan, who was a stellar high school player, and it was a time for her to really choose where she wanted to go to school. She wanted to go to UofL possibly and follow in her father's footsteps, but then she sort of reneged on it and went to the rival school, UOK, man. Tell me about that decision. Obviously you want the best for your daughter. I'm pretty sure it's something that you guys kind of joke about to this day probably. But talk about that, her possibly going to UofL and then ended up deciding to go to UOK and
I know
divided.
She had committed to UofL early. You know what I'm saying? And then, she told me, she wanted to go to UK. And I ain't have a problem with it because my thing is you got to be there 4 years. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, like wherever you go, if I force you or try to force you or tell you to go to UofL and then you have a problem, who's that come back on? If you make that choice of where you want to go, all I can do is lay out the opportunities and what's going on at each university. The final decision was always, hers. Right. Because, I didn't want it to be on me if she got to UofL and something went wrong or wherever she went. You know, all I can do is tell you what's going on, and then you make that decision because you got to be there 4 years.
Did she say it was a style of play, or was there a coaching change? Did she say what was part of her decision or what made her change?
I mean, you know, her teammate, Michaela Epps,
Okay,
Anthony Epps' daughter, both of them had committed to U of L. And they have been playing ball together since like the 5th grade. So I think a lot of it had to do with them just wanting to play together. And I think, you know, Epps wanted to go to UK, ended up wanting to go to UK. So she was like, well, if you're going, I'm going.
Right. Package deal already.
Yeah.
Now
she did have a lot to deal with. You know, when she said she wanted to go to UK, I was like, you know, hey, you the one got to tell your granddaddy. She's like, man, hey, look, no, I'm not telling him. Can you call him and tell him for me? Nah, that's on you, partner.
I'm sure there's plenty of jokes going around and being a house divided.
You know what he told her? You know what he told her?
What is it?
Look, Cap, I want you to do good every game.
But I hope y'all lose.
I don't want you to beat you, man.
Right. Go ahead and get your 20, but just take this L, though. Go ahead and get your 20.
Man, that's your granddaughter, man. He's like, man, I can't hope you can't win.
Right.
Oh, man.
So, Tick, now we've reached the part of our podcast, man, we call the Burr-Proof segment of rapid-fire questions. We're going to shoot you some rapid-fire questions. Don't give it a lot of thought. Give us your first answer. We're going to roll with it. Toughest person you ever had to guard?
Dewan Wheat.
Favorite place to play overseas?
Israel.
Hey,
for sure.
Facts. Big facts.
Hey, hold on. Time out. Let's stop the rapid fire. What you know about the Soho or the G spot?
I ain't even playing Israel, and I know.
Big facts. No, everything.
Hey, man. It was the closest thing to being
Dixie,
being
everything.
back in the U.S. Yeah, Dixie, the wings.
Yeah, the pancakes, everything. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, man, that was the funnest place I ever played, man.
Facts,
for real.
Facts. And this Shabbat, you didn't really have a whole lot of practices either.
Yeah.
Man.
But sure, you know, when I was over there, man, hey, every team I was in Israel about 10 years, 9 or 10 years. I never had a team, man, where I practiced more than twice a day or that I practiced twice a day. Yeah, maybe 2 out of 10 years, man. Like, it was so easy, man. It was so easy.
You got lucky.
And just coaches. the way of life outside of basketball is what makes it really nice, man.
Everybody speak English. You can go and talk to a kid in Israel. TV, everything's in English. You know what I'm saying?
And the crazy part about it, before going, man, I remember talking to you about it, but I was so nervous because all you know is what you see on TV, man. I'm like, I don't know. Then once you get there, you're like, man, this ain't nothing like what you think. Man, this is paradise, man.
Man, I never seen nothing happen over there. I mean, I would see it on TV just like we be seeing it here. Right. But in 9 years, man, I never seen nothing crazy happen in Israel.
Right.
Man.
That's what I tell people all the time. The same stuff you see over there can happen over here. Like, I don't.
Exactly.
We be so in tune with basketball, you don't see it.
You know, here's the thing though. The people that had never been to the States wonder how we live, you know, with the gangs and everything. They like, man, y'all ain't scared to walk up and down the street at night
with
over
the
there.
Guns, right?
Like,
that's how they talk about. Everybody got a gun. Why does everybody got a gun? That's what they talk about.
Yeah, like they don't understand how a lot of stuff that goes on over here is the same. We don't understand. If you hadn't been there, the people that hadn't been there don't understand how Israel really is.
Right. But back to the first question, man, about toughest guard. Shout out Dewan Wheat, man. That's my guy, man. Really took me up under his wing when I was in college, man. Showed me some moves. Play one-on-one plenty of times, man.
Man,
tough guard, tough cover, man.
Literally every day that we wasn't practicing or during the summer, man, me and Dewan and J.O. would go in the gym and play one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, dude, these dudes got game. I'm trying to get it. You know what I'm saying? They trying to get it, man. But, you know, them competitions, man, used to be great, man. But this is literally every day that we wasn't doing nothing. Me, Dewan, and Jason would hit the gym and play one-on-one.
Man, I bet there were some great games, too. Backyard shootout. Best out of 10 shot, who wins between you and Kylan?
Me. Man, like I told you before, man, I don't think nobody can beat me, man.
He ain't even give his daughter no love.
No. I'm winning for sure.
Give me one coach you would have loved to play for besides Denny Crum.
Woo. Boy, you hit me with that one. Oh man, I don't know, man. That's the tough one. Let me just throw your name out there.
Clem Haskins. Would you like to play for Clem? See how it'd been for Clem?
Oh yeah, that was. If I didn't go to Louisville, which was 99%, but if I didn't go to Louisville, I was going to Clem for sure.
Okay.
Simply because Clem from Campbellsville.
Right. Yeah.
Which is right down the street from where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? And Clem played. I mean, my uncle played for the Boston Celtics, Clarence Glover.
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
And him and Clem was together at Western when they went to the Final Four with man, I'm gonna throw up names, Jim Daniels and all them names y'all probably never heard
the name
of.
Before.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's when Western went to the Final Four that year and beat UK. I think they beat UK that year to go to the Final Four. That's the year they didn't want. Basically, I think that's the year the year Western went to the Final Four is the year that Western became the first team to ever start 5 black players.
Oh, okay. What you talking about?
Western
Texas,
Kentucky University.
Oh, Western Kentucky.
No, Western Kentucky.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, after that Western Kentucky, that was probably before
Texas Western.
Texas Western, because or right after. But I know that Western, Clarence was telling me about, some of the letters that the coach got. Talking about you shouldn't be starting, 5 black players and this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the coach ain't listening. He did what he thought was right. He said, "Well, I'm playing the 5 best players I got." So
right, as he should. Favorite actor of all time?
Denzel.
Yeah.
One old school concert. Ooh.
Al Pacino. Huh?
What's one old school concert you will go to live and listen to music?
MC Hammer.
Really?
That man. Hey man, like I had never been a MC Hammer fan. You know what I mean, for real. But I went to an MC. It was the MC Hammer and 357 or something. I don't even remember the other group. It was a girls group.
Mm-hmm.
I went to that concert, man. I was a sophomore in high school. Man, they put on a show, man. That was the best, all the dancing, and that was the best concert I've been to. And every time somebody come to Louisville when we was in college, we was at the concert.
Yeah.
That concert, man, was the best concert I had ever been to, man.
You know who I thought you was gonna say? I thought you was gonna say New Edition, because a lot of people love going to their concerts.
See, I never been to a New Edition concert though.
Check it out.
I never been.
Yeah.
But I could see Hammer though. I could see putting Hammer on a really good show though.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
back in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see Hammer.
Yeah, I think it was 90. It was actually, I think it was 1990. 1990, 89 or 90 that I went to that concert.
And that was when he was in his, at his height too.
Sure was. He sure was.
Tick, this is a question we call franchise, sign, and wave. You got to franchise somebody that you would build your team around. You got to sign a guy that you would keep on the team, and you got to waive a guy that you wouldn't keep around. But we're going to go rec ball edition on this one, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's your options. You walk in the gym, you got 3 guys in front of you. You got to pick 2. You got to let go of 1. Yep. There's a guy in a headband and an arm sleeve. There's a guy in a full Steph Curry uniform. And there's a guy with black socks, black shoes, and 2 black wristbands. Who you franchising? Who you franchising?
Yo, what you on, bro?
What 2 you keep it, and what 2 you go? I'm gonna read them again. So
I think I'm franchising Steph.
Okay,
Steph
so
jersey.
You gonna walk?
I'm getting ready to do it with the arm sleeve, man. I'm keeping the wristbands and the black socks and the wristbands.
In the full Steph Curry uniform.
Yeah.
Last question, Tick, before we let you get out of here. What's one thing the game of basketball has taught you and advice that you would give young kids growing up to wanting to play at the highest level?
Work ethic. I mean, you know, if there's anything in life that you want to do, man, you're going to have to put forth the effort. It's not always going to be easy. There's going to be times you feel like quitting, but the people that make it are the people that stick through it and work through the hard times and see the light at the end of the tunnel, man. So the same advice I've always given to my kids, man. If you want something, you're going to have to work for it. And if you want it, if it's something that is big, then there's other people working for it too. So the effort that you put into it's definitely going to have to be a little more than what other people are doing. For example, when you go to the gym after practicing, when you go to the gym and you practice and get your shots up, the people that's really going to make it is the people when they get home, they still doing something else, or the people that stay after to get shots up. The people that leave practice when practice is over and you never see them again, you're going to see them down the line somewhere and they ain't going to be in a position that they want to be in. The people that really want to make it is going to be the people that put forth that extra effort to get to where you want to go.
I agree.
Tick, my brother, way to close out the podcast, man. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your day to come through and holler at us, man. Bless us with your presence, man. It's an honor.
My dudes, man. All brothers,
man. You know you always my OG, man. And
y'all my brothers, man.
Yes, sir. And we definitely got to link up when we come back.